What's up, fantasy people? This is Tyler, Big Turd Ward, and Jason, the lucky bastard Utah coming at you live from the West Coast. And this is the Fantasy Red Zone, man. Today, we are going for trade targets. We got buy, we got holds, we got sells, all right? So buy low, sell high, and hold when you cannot get your value what you want. We got we got all three categories jam-packed, man. We got like 20 players, dude. I'll have to do the math, but somewhere around that. Hey, before we get into all of that, Jason, we have the fantasy news. There is some hot shit going on right now. Season-changing stuff. Will it affect our trade targets? We'll have to talk about that. And before we get into even that, Jason, we need help from the public. This show needs help. Just look at us, man. Anyways, Jason, please tell the public how they can help this show.
Because
just look at us.
Just look at us. Because we need it. If you made it this far, if you could please subscribe and like, we appreciate it. We're also on other platforms. Oh, my God. The radio platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Please send us a follow on that, too. We got a Patreon. Shout out to Olaf and Carter Mario. And we also got thank you buttons on all of our videos. Thank you, Tyler. That intro, you made me kind of want to go buy another house.
Buy low, sell high. Well, right now, I don't know if that's the time to buy a house, Jason. Interest rates kind of suck.
Yeah.
Just download Robinhood, Jason.
Huh?
All right. I said just download Robinhood, Jason, and make all your dreams come true.
Yes.
That's the app that you told me about. That's a stock market's app. All right, man. Hey, let's get into the news. Joe Burrow out with surgery on turf toe for longer than we thought, dude. It's going to be like 3 months. So, Jason, the backup coming in was like a top 10 quarterback. I think he was quarterback number 4 overall during like the 5 weeks that he started. So, as far as backup quarterbacks go, this is a great situation. But I was just trying to trade Drew's sister for Joe Burrow. I had Baker Mayfield and a couple running backs in that, and she did not want anything to do with it. And this came out, and it was still on the internet, man. I had to cancel it super fast. So Joe Burrow, Jason, this is huge.
Yeah. So what happened last time with Jake Browning, right? He's the one that came in. Jamar Chase got a lot of screen passes, so be ready for that. He's going to get a lot of screen passes. That's easy PPR points, and he was great after yards after the catch last year. He was actually number one in yards after the catch last year.
And then Jason, J.J. McCarthy out 2 to 4 weeks with an ankle injury. I was talking shit about him, and then he had that great fourth quarter, and I was like, maybe I judging too hard. And I was like, I still wouldn't start him. I was seeing where people were ranking him. It was insane, man. People were overreacting to that. Well, he had a terrible game, and he injured his ankle during that terrible game. He's out 2 to 4 weeks. Carson Wentz is going to come in. I hope to God we trade for Kirk Cousins. If we don't, I don't understand it. So, hey, maybe Carson Wentz comes in and just blows shit up. Look at Daniel Dimes, So, not good, Jason. But I think if I was a Justin Jefferson owner, who cares? TJ Hawkinson owner, yeah, like that's probably best case scenario right now. And Aaron Jones likely out with a hamstring week 3. So Jordan Mason is not doing that great either because JJ McCarthy can't do anything, can't not move the ball. So I think for everybody involved, it's gonna be better fantasy wise.
I think that's good that you put that because I think Jordan Mason has looked good with the attempts that he had, but they're not able to continue drives, and that's what's really killing it for him. And that game against Atlanta, dude, that was like Atlanta's highest pressure rate on a quarterback in the past like 5 to 10 years. It was crazy to watch. The next game, I do declare that it is Vikings and the Bengals. Are you willing to pick up one of those defenses? Both backup quarterbacks.
No. You know what? I mean, Drake Browning, he does throw a lot of interceptions. So, and especially with the pressure that the Vikings do, I mean, I would probably do Vikings maybe. I'm not going to start the Bengals quarterback. The Bengals defense. And then, Jason, Jalen Johnson, man, the second best cornerback in the league pretty much, out indefinitely with a groin injury. So he's been dealing with injury in training camp. It was more serious than what we thought. And now he's out indefinitely, Jason. So that's like almost like Patrick Surtain being gone for a while. So the Bears defense is not is not scary to me at all, man, especially passing the ball.
Yeah, his groin injury is
growing. His groin injury is growing.
His growing injury is a kick to the nuts to that Bears defense.
Dude, yeah. And then Jaden Daniels, Jason, is questionable for week 3 with a knee injury. I was watching that game, and I saw when it happened. He was kind of walking weird and checking out his knee. Apparently, it's more serious, I mean, he was running on – he's young. Afterwards, it tightened up, and now it's not looking good. Also, Jason, the Commander signed Chase Edmonds. You are a Bill owner. I would not care because remember Cliff Kingsbury, Arizona, Chase Edmonds. That was like some of Chase Edmonds' best years.
And some of his worst years.
Yeah, so Jaden Daniels, though, Jason, like, if he does not play, that is a huge deal. So Terry McLaurin was one of my number one buys, and I had to move him down the list. So stuff like that. All right, I'm going to start sharing this with you, Jason. We're going to start going over our buys. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
So our trade targets. We're doing a trade for these fools. So first up, man, I was watching this game with my daddy. I love you, daddy. That's from Shrek. It's pretty funny, man. Matthew Golden. This guy only had one fantasy point, Jason. Why am I telling you to buy him? Because it's going to be super cheap right now. And if you look at the all 22, which I was just watching clips, it was like a compilation of all 22 of his separation is insane, man. And when I watch him, I'm like, who was that guy? I'm like, hey, Dad, that was a number one overall wide receiver. And he's like, ran like a 4.3. He looked so fast. And they were kind of doing some manufactured stuff. He only had two touches, but he was just missed on 2 throws that would have been long touchdowns and looked open all day again. Now, Green Bay, as historically as a franchise, I was in deep, man, on some of these, what do they call those, dude? Forums? The Green Bay forums. And apparently they always say that they usually take their time with rookies, and that kind of makes sense. So maybe second half of the year is what you're hoping for, but I would try to get me some Matthew Golden while I can, because Green Bay looks like a Super Bowl team. Jaden Reed is out 6 to 8 weeks. So to me, when I'm looking at this, he was the number in again, like when wide receivers are taken in the first round, it's like a 70% hit rate or something like that. He was the number one overall wide receiver taken. So I like where this is headed, Jason. They are at Cleveland, at Dallas, and then a bye. At Dallas is going to be a great matchup. At Cleveland, I'm not really sure about that. And then the bye. So I would you can wait till maybe after Cleveland, but I would try to either get him at the bye when the guy is just like, taking up somebody's bench spot, or after Cleveland if he has a bad game again.
You're talking about like the Packers overall first draft pick, correct?
Yeah, but I'm just saying he was the number one wide receiver taken, like in the NFL draft this last year. So that's what I'm just saying.
Sorry, sir. It was King Tet who was number one.
No, it was Golden.
10th overall by the Panthers?
Man, you got me checking this. I thought it was Matthew Golden. We're going to have to check this out, all right? Later on.
Stephanie, can we look this up? Get us back to us. Fact check. Anyway, yeah, this is something we actually kind of briefly discussed on the Friday show, because as soon as I saw that Jaden Reed went out, next play, what was it? A deep ball attempt to Golden. He had separation on that. He was just overthrown. He liked the fact that they're trying to throw the ball deep to him. So if they get that's why I said if they could get that connection, dude, they could dominate this league.
He was the 3rd overall wide receiver.
Yeah, Abuka was before him as well. But yeah, once they get that connection going, they have a chance to blow leagues up.
I could have swore. I guess maybe he was at the end. He was just the number one ranked, because I was like, I didn't understand why he was the number one ranked over King Tet. I liked Igbuka, I think, the best. So, but anyways, Jason, still a first round wide receiver. I apologize about that. A little bit off there, but man, I mean, how do you feel about trading for him? He's only had he hasn't done anything yet. You wouldn't have to give up much. So I can't really think of any exampents right now, but would you try to trade for him, Jason?
Yeah, and do a bench player for him too, because he's going to ride the bench for a while.
I mean, if I could get, if I could just trade Nick Chubb for Matthew Golden, I would do that. So I mean, and after last week, it wouldn't have been that bad of a deal. Nick Chubb wasn't doing shit last time I checked, but if he has 10 points, I might be trying to send that trade.
Yeah, and I got the game on right here, and I can't remember the last time I seen Nick Chubb. It's been Woody Marks, USC.
Yeah, I know, and Woody was looking good too. That sucks. All right, Jason, next up, we got Breece Hall. I never thought I would be telling people to trade for Breece Hall. Only 4 fantasy points against Buffalo. So I remember when Milano was playing for Buffalo, they would stuff the run all the time. And then week 1 happened, and King Henry looked like unstoppable force against Milano and everything. Well, Jason, they stopped the run with Milano. And I mean, half the game was with Tyrod Taylor. I mean, at least half of the opportunities. So I don't know what to take out of this. All I do know is that I think that Breece Hall is definitely worth trying to trade for because he played, let's see, what was I going to try to say? 58% of offensive snaps in week 1 when he was awesome. And then that went up to 63% week 2. And we were really worried about Braylon Allen. He outsnapped him by like 300% this week, where it was only like 100% last week. So twice as much last week. And then before garbage time, it was up at 73% offensive snaps. So he's being more involved this week. And he looked amazing, man. I had to watch like every single touch from Breece Hall on YouTube last week, and he looked like he did his rookie year. So, and then I'm looking at his schedule, Jason. He's got a great upcoming schedule. Tampa Bay is pretty good against the run, but then he gets Miami and Dallas. So give it to me. If I could try to get Breece Hall after this 4 fantasy point performance, I would be a little bit nervous if Justin Fields does not get to go next week. But again, I think that's going to be his worst week of the year. So buy low on Breece Hall.
Yeah, I think the main thing to look at is that he had all the snaps. I mean, he had the carries other than Justin Fields, but I watched that game, and I tell you what, that game was terrifying because I remember we were doing the rankings, and I was like, maybe the Jets offense looks good. Maybe. Like, I was like, am I saying this actually? And then I watched this game, and I'm like, oh, okay, back to reality. But he's going to have the most, target share and market share out of that backfield. And we saw he's already put up 100 yards in week 1. So he just was not given a lot of opportunities this game because of that defense.
All right, Jason, next up, man, I was texting you about this guy. I was like, what is going on with Kyren Williams? Do you know? I do not understand. Well, I went to PFF and I found some literature that answered my question, Jason, and I liked what I saw. So only had 9 fantasy points this last week. Kyren Williams, I mean, he's led the league in running back usage like over the last 3 years, pretty much. He just got that contract extension. Otherwise, I would be pretty worried about some of this. But with that contract extension, I feel better. So week 1, Williams played a little less than usual at 81% snap rate. That means he's just like at 90. The Rams largely rotated by drive as Corum took the 3rd and the 7th drive of the game, while Williams took the other 7 drives. So the 3rd and the 7th drive, Jason, Corum did play. And again, this week, the rotation was identical. Corum took the 3rd and the 7th drive, but the Rams had some more opportunities this week. So he had the 10th drive as well. The difference this week is that Corum's drive averaged 6 plays, where Williams only averaged 4.8. So much more opportunity in the drives that Corum just happened to be in. Even though Williams gets a majority of all the drives, those drives just happen to be more productive. So I like all that. I hate his upcoming schedule. 2 of the 3 right now. At Philadelphia, I do not like. And then San Francisco, I'm assuming they're going to get better, man. I still believe in Robert Saleh, even though they've been pretty terrible for the 2 weeks. So, yeah, Jason, if I can get Kyren Williams after this 9-point game, I'm going to be packaging some shit together and doing that.
Yeah, just try not to send too much that way.
You don't like it?
No, I think it's great because I think of his usage, right? But I mean, it's like he needs those touchdowns, and we see what happens when he doesn't get them. So it's about usage with this. His metrics still have not been great this year. But one thing I did notice was that he had a couple receptions in this game too, and the game before. So that's very important because he didn't have a lot in 2024.
Man, do they still have that trade calculator, Jason?
Yes. Oh my God.
I know. Should be pulling that up, dog.
Oh,
all right, here we go.
Gosh, what am I doing here? What am I even doing with my life, bro? Oh my gosh. Okay.
We'll go back real fast and go over some trades. I'll just start talking about Tyler Warren while you pull it up, though. Next up, I'm saying to pay the price, man. You got to pay. What was it? The cheese tax. Oh, you got to pay the cheese tax, man. So 11 fantasy points for Tyler Warren this last week. All the hype around him, you would have thought that was 21 fantasy points, or maybe even 111 fantasy points. He has 1 fewer target and 1 fewer receiving yard than Brock Bowers did over his first 2 games last season. So, hey, man, it's a great trajectory. Danny Dollars is the truth. So Danny Dimes has evolved, man, into Danny Dollars, and he looks amazing. Okay, especially after this last week against Denver. So, hey, we have an amazing coach. We have a quarterback that's playing. like top 5 right now. And this is the main target, 155 yards. This is for tight ends, right? First, 92 yards after catch. First, three contested catches, which was his strength in college, Jason. Tied for first, all with 0 drops. And I saw a trade today. People were taking screenshots sitting on Reddit. Charbonnet plus Jordan Mason for Tyler Warren. And I am a Jordan Mason owner, and I do believe in that. But with this potential and the way the tight ends are kind of this year, I would make that trade. He's at Tennessee, at the Rams, so 2 tough matchups, and then gets Las Vegas. But he literally just went up had the worst matchup of the year almost, and had 11 fantasy points. So, Jason, I am trading for Tyler Warren. I know that he is going to be priced higher than what people drafted him for, but I am going to pay that price.
Yeah, I know you mentioned the targets like Brock Bowers. Did you also mention the yards?
Oh, no, yeah. Sorry. It was, 1 fewer target and 1 fewer yard than Brock Bowers had.
Yep. And that's what you want, especially if Danny Dimes keeps playing like that. It's like, dude, do we have the 2025 Brock Bowers? That's what I keep thinking. That's what I'm hoping. Just needed to continue. So do you have your trade calculator, Jason? I found it, and I got it. Is there anything going on for Tyler Warren? Tyler Warren, David Njoku, and Daniel Jones. Damn, that's pretty crazy, man. Because Daniel Jones, I think, is going to be valued highly pretty soon. So I would keep Tyler Warren. Zach Ertz, Quentin Johnston. Zach Ertz and Quentin Johnston. I would keep Tyler Warren there because I don't believe in Quentin Johnston. We're going to see tonight. But again, these are trades that actually happened like today over the last 48 hours. Yep. It happened. These right here happened on 9/14. Tyler Warren for Javonte Williams and Jameson Williams. Oh, shit. I would probably keep Javonte Williams with Jameson Williams, Jason. I'd keep the Williams bros. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. And I just want to throw this last one in real quick. Would you do Tyler Warren for Bill? Yes, I would do Tyler Warren for Bill because I still don't think that Bill's still going to maybe have like a 60% snap share or something. Even though he's a starter, he's not going to be like the total workhorse. And then they just brought in Chase Edmonds. I'd probably go Tyler Warren and just take the sure thing. All right, Jason, you want to go over any trade targets for any of the people that we went over already? Oh, yeah. Or trades that already happened? We got Matthew Golden, we got Breece Hall, Kyren Williams, whichever one of those three. Let's see, Matthew Golden. Yeah, we can just do like Golden. A couple. Yeah. For just each. Do 2. Okay. Dude, someone has Matthew Golden for Jamar Chase. We'll skip that one. That happened today. Matthew Golden or Darnell Mooney? See, that's a good one, Jason. Do I want to go? Man, I would probably go Darnell Mooney because I am such a Darnell Mooney guy. I was going to put him on this list as one of my top whatevers because Michael Penix did not have a great game. So I would. I'm going. That's a tough one, dude. I'd go Matthew Golden. I'm going Matthew Golden. Taking the rookie, taking the draft capital. Green Bay is going to be a really good team this year. Just going with that. Matthew Golden or Isaiah Pacheco? Oh, Matthew Golden. Oh, that's a lot to pay for Matthew Golden. I feel like, but Isaiah Pacheco, his usage actually went up, even though it was not reflected in like the touches between him and Kareem Hunt. I'd probably keep Pacheco just because he's a starting running back. All right, that seems like too much to give up. Breece Hall, George Pickens or Breece Hall? Breece Hall, dog. That's easy. Okay, well we got. Oh, that one's too easy. Breece Hall, Zay Flowers for Brian Thomas. Breece Hall and Zay Flowers for Brian Thomas. As a Brian Thomas owner, I would not take that trade, but as a Brian Thomas owner, that's probably a good trade. I can't cut it that fast. All right, so I'm putting in Kyren Williams. We got James Conner. Oh, that's too easy. Never mind. It's James Conner, Kyren Williams for Jonathan Taylor. Oh, if you get Jonathan Taylor,
hell yeah. And that's probably what you'd have to do is Kyren Williams and who?
It's Kyren Williams. Let me go back. And James Conner for Jonathan Taylor. That trade happened.
Damn. I mean, right now that looks like a good trade, but I probably wouldn't give up James Conner and Kyren Williams, Jason.
Let's do this. Kyren Williams for Bashawn Tutin, Debo Samuels, and Kyle Pitts.
That's like a trade that I would send somebody, and I would keep Kyren Williams over all three of them. I would keep Kyren Williams in that situation. If I'm getting 3 for 1, I'm probably going to deny that trade. So, all right, Jason. Okay. Moving on. We got the trade calculator back in our arsenal. All right, Jason. Jaylen Warren, I tried to trade for him a couple times last week before he blows up. So 16 fantasy points, saw his running back rush share rise from 58% week 1 to 70% week 2. His route participation was only 27% week 1. That went up to 41% week 2. Kenneth Gainwell still ran 2 more routes, but the big difference from week 1 to week 2, Gainwell had 100% of the third down snaps. Week 1 also 2-minute drill snaps. Warren played almost 75% of those snaps, and week 2 also they were 50-50 on 2-minute drills. So Gainwell got those situations taken away. My impression from that is I went back and watched the tape and realized how much better Jaylen Warren is than Kenneth Gainwell. And, used him more in those situations. 86 receiving yards week 2, and that was insane because the next highest receiver from Aaron Rodgers was Pat Freiermuth with 31 yards. So almost 3 times as many yards than the next person, Jason. And he's got a pretty decent schedule other than the bye at New England, Minnesota, who brings the rush a lot. Should be a lot of dump offs to Jaylen Warren. And then a bye. So Jaylen Warren, maybe after the bye, I think is going to blow up. If you can get Jaylen Warren, maybe during the bye week or this week right now, dude. I know he just got 16 fantasy points, but still, it could be more, especially in full PPR, Jason. I'm trying to get Jaylen Warren because if you can get him in your flex, man, that is an amazing team.
Yeah, so I have a stat here. Jaylen Warren broke a long 64-yard reception, but his backfield usage was vertically unhinged in week 2 by weighted opportunity share. So by weighted opportunity, Warren had 58%. Gainwell had 40%, and Caleb Johnson muffed the kick and didn't realize it was a live ball. So that's like a waste. I also think this might need to be checked by Stephanie, but I also think Jaylen Warren is leading the Steelers in receiving yards. So,
yeah, and DK Metcalf doesn't look good. I mean, dude, Caleb Johnson is not a threat at all, and Kenneth Gainwell's it, man. So. And you got somebody that likes to throw the ball a ton. So PPR, man, Jaylen Warren's going to be insane. Do you have any trades, Jason? I'm going to have to let these dogs in a second.
Jaylen Warren for Emeka Egbuka.
Oh, my God. I would keep Emeka Egbuka right now because it is not guaranteed. I mean, again, Godwin is lurking in the showers. Godwin is looking in the shadows. So, like, I am afraid, but Jason, watching this game, I shouldn't have been watching that game, the Tampa Bay game before this, because I was like, oh my God, Emeka looked good, and then he got another touchdown. So, yeah, dude, I would keep Emeka Egbuka over Jaylen Warren, but that is a fair trade.
I like this trade here. Jaylen Warren for Keyshawn Judkins.
Oh, Quinshon Judkins?
Yep.
He was better than I thought he was going to be, and I thought he was supposed to be getting the 3-week suspension. I haven't heard shit about that since that article came out. So I think I would go full PPR. I would go Jaylen Warren, but standard leagues, I would go with Quinshon Judkins.
Last one. Let's do Jaylen Warren for T. Higgins.
I'd probably keep Jaylen Warren for that, even though that's insane, but I need to go back and check and see how T. Higgins did with Browning. He did well this week with Browning. And T. Higgins, man, as far as snap count, was insane. Like, he runs almost everything that Jamar Chase does. I saw that on PFF, so that's encouraging. But, yeah, I would go with Jaylen Warren right now over T. Higgins.
Okay.
Which is crazy, because if you have T. Higgins, you should be able to trade that for Jaylen Warren all day. All right, Jason, I think this is the last buy. I'm looking at Zach Charbonnet, Jason. I saw him in preseason. I was like, oh, my God, this is Adrian Peterson reincarnated. He only had 1 fantasy point. It's not great when you can't put an S at the end of that. Let's see, ran 15 times for 10 yards with 0 targets, Jason. Why am I telling you to trade for this guy? Well, he still played 13 more snaps than Kenneth Walker in week 2, and he also ran twice as many routes. So the opportunity was still for Charbonnet. Walker, however, was the one and only one of the 2 players with a target, and he totaled 118 yards. Charbonnet only had 10. There were 6 plays with neither running back on the field on 3rd downs, as the Seahawks used 3 wide receivers and 2 tight ends. That is kind of alarming to me for both players. But Charbonnet had 100% of the goal line carries in week 1. That did not happen in week 2. But man, he is like getting more carries. I think this is going to be a split backfield all the way through, Jason. And this is going to be his lowest score of the season. I think he's going to be a flex option most weeks. So New Orleans at Arizona and Tampa Bay. Again, Tampa Bay with Vita Vea has a good run defense. But everybody else, man, he's going to have 2 good weeks coming up. If I can get Charbonnet, I would do it.
Yeah, the one thing I do like about him is that he was the only one to get a touch inside the 10-yard line. And now on the season, he has 4 out of the 5 inside the 10 touches for Seattle. So,
yeah. And that's how they were using him in the preseason, and he looked insane. So I understand what they're trying to do, and their defense looks really good right now. So maybe running the ball a lot is the key there, especially with Sam Darnold as your quarterback. So Zach Charbonnet, Jason, any trades going on with them?
Yeah, they got, once I remember to type it in, it is, I'm sorry, I got to remember that we were doing that. I totally forgot about this, man. Good call. Good memory, dude. Okay.
This was like your favorite thing.
I know, dude. Okay, Travis Kelce for Zach Charbonnet.
I would take Zach Charbonnet unless I was desperate for a tight end. Other than that, because Zach Charbonnet, the second half of the season, I believe in. And as soon as Rashee Rice comes back, Jason, because I was telling my dad, I was like, man, Kelce should be targeted like 20 times a game right now. They need him. And they are not even then. So what's going to happen when Rashee Rice comes back, when Xavier Worthy comes back? So I'd be very scared if I was a Kelce owner. I would rather have Charbonnet.
What about Trey Benson for Zach Charbonnet?
I think this is like 50-50, dog. Well, I mean, Charbonnet, I'd be like if Trey Benson was getting more touches and a higher snap count than James Conner. But Trey Benson looks great this year, just like Charbonnet. I think I would keep Charbonnet, Jason, because he is not as much of a handcuff. He is almost more of like a 1B, not a handcuff. Benson's still a handcuff.
And then last one real quick. Zach Charbonnet for Jerry Jeudy.
I would take Zach Charbonnet over that, because Jerry Jeudy, I was just reading, I mean, dude, Tillman is still there, and it's like a split between him and Jerry Jeudy. So I would stay away from that as far as wide receivers goes on that offense right now. Joe Flacco's not looking good. It's not the Joe Flacco that was there 2 years ago that I was hoping for. So I would keep Charbonnet.
Well, he's 55 now.
55.
Okay, next up.
All right, we're going to holds, Jason. So players that are doing bad, I don't know what to do with. You can't trade them away. You're not going to trade away these players because you're not going to get value at all, man. You got them in the first or second round, and they are busts right now. So it's like, unless somebody's just being stupid, you're going to have to hold it. So Brian Thomas Jr. is the first one, Jason. I drafted him. It was in our home league. It was the first time he fell to like that late in the second round ever. And I wish he did not. 8 fantasy points, ran the most routes, 43, and led the team in targets, 11. So that's great. He has seen target shares of 24 and 29% of his first 2 games, and has resulted in 9 points per game, PPR. And then this just came out today that he's playing with an injured wrist. Remember Tyreek Hill from last year? That is not good. But everybody was saying, like, you can see him giving up on routes right now. He had a bunch of bad drops. So that wrist injury, okay, was making me feel better about everything. Also, they were talking about, you can go back and look at it in the preseason, like Trevor Lawrence threw something over the middle, and Brian Thomas Jr. just got crushed. So he has not played aggressive since then either. I don't know if that's when he injured his wrist or what, but this wrist injury, Jason, if it lingers, is going to be causing him to bust.
Dude, I was just going to say, like, those throws over the middle, like, Trevor Lawrence is still making them. Like, I was watching clips of Brian Thomas's, like, targets, and they're still, like, over the middle with, like, a linebacker and a safety coming to ready to
suicide
chop his head
balls or
off.
whatever.
Yeah, I know. I know they're supposed to. They make money to make those catches, but damn, one of them is just going to end his career.
Dude, he can get sued for manslaughter, Jason.
Fucking for real, dude. Real quick,
Jason.
just so you know, he almost scored a touchdown last week, but one of his feet was like he had a foot outside in the. Oh my gosh, he had a foot out of bounds, so it didn't count. But the attempts are still there. Okay, first one here is Brian Thomas for Jamar Chase.
Oh, Jamar, give me Jamar Chase all day, man. Give me that. I would take the backup over there. I would take Browning over Trevor Lawrence if I was Jacksonville.
Okay. Brian Thomas, Javonte Williams.
I would take Javonte Williams right now. So Javonte Williams looks good, and his volume for a running back right now is like top 5, and it's probably not going to change. So Blue continues to be a healthy scratch.
Brian Thomas for Amarian Hampton. Last one.
I'd have to watch this game today because right now I'd still keep Brian Thomas.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like this game or this trade just happened today before Amarian Hampton's game. So
well, it's crazy that I'm talking about taking Javonte Williams over Amarian Hampton now. You know.
Yep.
But that's the world we live in. All right, another hole, Jason. Jamar Chase. 37 fantasy points, 10 receptions on 11 targets, 128 yards with Browning. Week 2, again, Browning top 9 quarterback. He had he was a top 9 quarterback in 5 of 7 starts in 2023. He averaged 19.1 fantasy points per game in those weeks. 4th best among quarterbacks during that span. 14 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I know he threw 3 interceptions this last week, but that was just him going into the game with no prep. So, Jason, Jamar Chase right now, if everybody's talking about trading for him or trading him away, if I had Jamar Chase, which I do in our listener league, in our dynasty league, especially dynasty, you're not trading his ass. But yeah, dude, I would not trade. I would hold because you're not going to be getting what you need for Jamar Chase.
That year that Jamar Chase was relying on Jake Browning, he still ended up as a top 12 wide receiver.
Yeah, exactly. But I just don't know what you're going to trade Jamar Chase away for. I want to hear it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry.
It's like Brian Thomas, I guess, but I'd rather have Jamar Chase.
Brian Thomas for Jamar Chase.
Hell no. I'm keeping Jamar Chase.
That was still number 1 on here.
I'm going to send Brian Thomas. I'm going to send Brian Thomas for Jamar Chase tonight, Jason. See how that goes.
Man, there's people who have given up on Jamar Chase.
I wouldn't. He's going to get 10 plus targets a game from a quarterback that's going to do well.
Jamar Chase for Sam Laporta and Josh Jacobs.
Oh, shit. I would take Josh Jacobs and Sam Laporta, Jason. Yes.
Okay.
I would. Because I really like Josh Jacobs.
A lot of these are doubles. Jamar Chase and Mike Evans and Josh Jacobs.
Jamar Chase. So Jamar Chase and Mike Evans for Josh Jacobs?
Mike Evans, Josh Jacobs for Jamar Chase.
Oh, I would do that. I would do the Mike Evans and Josh Jacobs. Even though Mike Evans needs I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
You know what? Oh, sorry. Go on.
I was saying anything else, Jason?
Oh, I was going to add this real quick. He averaged Jake Browning. He averaged 20.5 fantasy points per game and 0.55 fantasy points per dropback. That's actually quarterback 6 across 6 starts as a rookie at the end of 2023.
Okay,
those are crazy numbers.
All right, Jason. Chase Brown is my next hold. Only 7 fantasy points, 16 rushes for 47 yards. And that's after only averaging 2.0 yards per carry in week 1. He has been terrible this year. The usage has been great. Joe Mixon averaged 18 fantasy points per game when Browning filled in for Burrow in 2023. And I mean, I looked at his rushing attempts. It was great. It was, 16 to 20. So Chase Brown should still have the same usage that he has. Just the scoring opportunity is not going to be there. And man, he had, the passing game was huge for him. And I just don't know how much Browning throws to running backs. At Minnesota, at Denver. So 2 terrible matchups. Actually, 3 terrible matchups coming up, Jason, with Detroit. Detroit, Minnesota were the top 2 run stoppers last year. And Denver's defense is crazy. So Chase Brown, I do not know what to do with him. He's got 3 bad weeks coming up with a new quarterback. If I could trade him away for something, I would, but I just don't know what you're going to get for him. You drafted him in the 2nd round. Everybody was super pumped on him this year, and now he's kind of screwed.
Yeah, well, the good thing about Chase Brown, though, he was the only running back to record a touch or a target last week, even though he did fail to score despite 3 carries inside the 5-yard line, including a vulture by a Browning sneak. That kind of sucks.
Vulture.
So, other than that vulture, he's still getting the usage and he's getting the goal line carries, which you would hope for with your running backs. But let's do Brian Thomas, Chase Brown for Devon Achane.
Oh my God, I'd rather have Chase Brown and Brian Thomas, Jason. I mean, we have one more week of Mike McDaniels as the head coach over there, and then I don't know what the hell that offense is going to look like. So Josh McDaniels is going to get fired this year at some point, and he is the offensive coordinator-ish, right? He's calling the plays. So yeah, I would stick with the other 2.
Chase Brown or Garrett Wilson.
Oof. Depending on what I need, Jason, I think they're in very similar situations. I would believe in Justin Fields bouncing back after that game. So I know it was a concussion. I'd probably go with Garrett Wilson there, Jason.
Okay, last one: Jared Goff, Chris Brown for Derrick Henry.
Jared Goff and Chris Brown. I would try to get Derrick Henry. I didn't even put him on this because I don't think anybody's giving up Derrick Henry. So, yeah, I would keep the Derrick Henry, Jason.
Yeah, I think I would too.
And the next step, man, one of the people I was pushing hard, TreyVeon Henderson, only 6 fantasy points, played 11 snaps in single running back sets compared to 9 to Gibson. Last week, Henderson received 20 snaps in single back sets. So not nearly as many opportunities when he was the only running back on the field. Henderson ran the ball 3 times for 10 yards and caught 2 passes for 30 yards. He was going to be pacing for to lead the team in receptions and receiving yards. But then he had multiple penalties, Jason. They just took him out and started putting Antonio Gibson out there. So he made some rookie mistakes. Yep. I heard that this guy was like, hey, like a pro already, man. He's leading Bible studies. He needs to work on his fucking penalties, Jason, pass protection, all this kind of stuff. So not great, but he gets Pittsburgh, their defense has not looked that great so far. Carolina, who he should run all over, and then Buffalo, who should kind of stop the run, but should give up some passes to TreyVeon Henderson. Again, the reason I like TreyVeon Henderson, it was not to get all the carries and all the rushing yards. It was a James White. I wanted to play that James White role, and James White was running back 7 1 year and average, like 9 targets a game. So I do think that TreyVeon Henderson will be that player by the end of the year. But right now, it is not good, and I would not give him up. So I am holding TreyVeon Henderson.
Yeah, I think you said it best because I had to keep close attention to that game. He had a couple of holding penalties when he was back there blocking for Drake May. I think, Mike, Mike, he's not going to deal with that shit. So they put in Antonio Gibson. I can't really find the stat right now, but Henderson is actually one of the top rookies in yards per touch right now. So he's being efficient. He's just not being able to stay at the field and get enough opportunities. But, okay. Here we go. What do we got here? TreyVeon Henderson, Justin Herbert for Alvin Kamara.
Holy shit, man. I'd keep Justin Herbert and TreyVeon Henderson. That sounds like I'd veto that trade.
Yeah. What about TreyVeon Henderson and Devonta Smith?
For?
No, sorry. TreyVeon Henderson for Devonta Smith.
I would keep TreyVeon Henderson for sure. Especially with that Eagles passing game looks, I mean, what's the difference, dude? They both look terrible. I'd rather keep the guy with the higher upside.
And then last one, TreyVeon Henderson, George Pickens for Ladd McConkey.
Ooh. If I could get Ladd McConkey, I would do that. I would do the Pickens and the Henderson for Ladd McConkey. I understand that one. So, because Ladd McConkey, I was very afraid about Keenan Allen, but it looks like they're both going to get theirs. I mean, we'll see how much they throw the ball tonight. But after that first game, the small sample size I have, I'd be okay with Ladd McConkey there.
Damn.
All right, Jason, what's up?
Nick Chubb just had like a 20-yard touchdown.
Are you serious?
Yeah, just right now.
Oh, guess who's going to package some trades together with Nick Chubb?
You, man. It's going to be you, man.
It's going to be me. I already said, I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to try to trade Brian Thomas Jr., maybe, and Nick Chubb for Jamar Chase. We'll see how that goes. I wonder who has Jamar Chase in our league. I'll have to pay attention to that. All right, Jason, this is going to be hot take. You ready for this?
Yep.
So we're talking about selling, trading away. I saw this in the news, right? And I did not like what I saw. Also, I'm a King Tet owner, and this offense is not what I expected it to be. Given, I mean, they were terrible last year, and then they turned to all Andy Dalton. They might do that again this year, Jason. Chuba Hubbard, I'm trying to trade away. 17 fantasy points. I think he got 15 fantasy points last week, so he's going to be in the top 10-ish running backs. Hubbard played 64% of Carolina's offensive snaps on third downs after Rico Dowdle took all of these snaps last week. So that was actually really good. So Rico Dowdle was getting all the third down snaps. Hubbard came in and played 64% of those this week. But then I'm looking at his rushing efficiency. He's been relying on the pass, only 95 yards on 26 rushes, Jason, over the first 2 weeks, but does have a reception touchdown each week. And this is why I read this. And I was like, what? This is not good, dude, for Bryce Young, for this offense. I don't even know about King Tet anymore. Center Austin Corvette tore his MCL, and right guard Rob Hunt tore his left bicep. Both are going to head to IR. So for the foreseeable future, Jason, they just lost their interior offensive line. Center's like the most important position there. They got to go against Atlanta, who's been stopping the pass, it seems like. At New England, and then Miami are great matchups. So Chuba Hubbard, Jason, right now, if I could capitalize on this value, because if it wasn't for these receiving touchdowns, we'd be talking about bust and bust. What's going on here? Especially with his, he is sharing a lot of snap shares with Rico Dowdle. So Jason, I'm getting rid of Hubbard with this offensive line news.
Yeah, dude. I remember when they were trying to beef up the offensive line and they got Hunt in the offseason like 2 years ago. It was like, that made a huge difference. And now that sucks because his rushing hasn't been that great. Yeah, it's kind of been relying on the receiving. Let's look at some trades.
Beep, boop, beep, boop, boop.
Boop, beep, bop, bop. Da, 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 da. I was trying to do Zelda right there.
Like, what?
Chuba Hubbard. A.J. Brown.
Give me... I would take AJ. I'd be taking, man. I ranked Chuba Hubbard so high, man. This is very close. I think this is a fair trade, Jason. I think this is a fair trade. I would still go Chuba Hubbard. I don't want anything of the Eagles' pass offense after Kellen Moore left.
Yeah, I could tell this one was tough. I saw that thing come out of your forehead. Pulsating and stuff. Chuba Hubbard, Kenneth Walker.
Chuba Hubbard or Kenneth Walker. Well, Jason, I would still keep Chuba Hubbard because at least he's taking the majority of the snaps right now, whereas Kenneth Walker is not even getting the majority of anything. We'll talk about that in a minute.
All right, let's do this. Chuba Hubbard, Rashid Shaheed for Deebo Samuel, Tony Pollard.
Oh, I would do the Tony Pollard and the Deebo Samuel.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Over those two. So if you could package Chuba Hubbard and do something like that, that would be smart. But again, man, you just got to hope that people look at the 17 points and the 15 points and not really put together all this other stuff, and hopefully don't see the news for the offensive line. So I would try to capitalize on that and get rid of Hubbard. Jason, we just talked about him. Next up, Kenneth Walker. 19 fantasy points. He ran the ball 13 times for 105 yards on touchdown. He gained a first down on 54% of his runs and at least 5 yards on 61% of his runs as well. Super efficient. And guess what, Jason? He's going to have to be like that. He's going to have to be like Devon Achane if he wants to remain a running back 1 or 2, because the snap percentage went down from 40% week 1 to 36% week 2. 13 touches for 24 yards week 1. to 14 touches for 118 yards week 2. So people were freaking out wanting to sell him away because of his touches, because of his usage week 1. Dude, it was the same. He got one more touch and the snap percentage actually went down. So I'm just saying he's probably a great flex, but people are viewing him as a running back 1 after this week. And I would try to capitalize on that, Jason, and get rid of him, sell high on him because he would be a great flex. But right now you could get much more than that. That's all I'm saying with Kenneth Walker.
Okay. What if I told you his yards per touch was 8.43? That's second among 33 running backs. Does it change your mind?
That's good. I mean,
missed tackles forced per touch was 0.36 this week. That's sixth best. Does that change anything?
That's elite, Jason. That's elite. No, it doesn't change it, man.
Okay, I got 2 more. Explosives per touch, 21.4%. That's first in week 2.
Oh.
Nothing?
No.
Last one. He saw 8 man in the box 60% of the time. That's the highest in week 2. Does that change anything?
80 men in the box? Well, yeah, that does change something.
8 men. Did I say 80?
So what is like a Kill Bill
out
movie?
there trying to stop him.
I was like, where's Gwyneth Paltrow when you need her? But I don't think that was Gwyneth Paltrow. That was somebody else.
All right.
Give me some trade.
Hollywood Brown, Kenneth Walker for Chase Brown.
I would do that. I was talking shit about Chase Brown, but Hollywood Brown's gonna expire, dude, in a couple months or a couple weeks, in a month. And then Kenneth Walker is still not getting the full load where Chase Brown's gonna get everything. It's just how's it gonna go? So he's been just super inefficient, which Kenneth Walker was for 1 week. So I would take Chase Brown in that scenario.
Okay, what about Kenneth Walker for Aaron Jones?
Kenneth Walker for Aaron. Oh, dude, I'd keep Kenneth Walker. Aaron Jones is not even playing this next week. So, yeah.
Jordan Mason to the moon. Kenneth Walker or Chris Olave?
I would take Chris Olave after watching that game. It was one of the games I got to watch. Chris Olave looks amazing. And Spencer Rattler's better than I thought, too. I need to go back and look and see, because I know that Chris Olave had 15 targets the first week. I wish I knew what it was the second week.
Yeah, I think I might have to put Chris Olave in my flex.
Do you have? Oh yeah, you drafted Chris Olave, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's not bad. Ooh, I just wonder how many targets did that fool?
I think he had like 10 or 9.
Right, so that's like
9.
Yeah, so 15 and then 9 targets, dude. No, he had 10 targets. So
10,
yeah,
damn.
25 targets over the first 2 weeks
on the year.
Yeah, that's crazy. So that's what I would go with. And then, all right, Jason. Anything else?
Nope. What's next?
Next up, I told you guys to trade this guy last week. I told you to trade him last week. Well, guess what? This may be your last week, man. Well, he's going against Miami, so you might want to wait after this week. And then New Orleans. Again, dude, I wouldn't trust this guy. 5 fantasy points this week. Keon Coleman. 1 reception for like 8 yards heading into the fourth quarter, game 1. He was on this last week because of that, all right? And because of the terrible drops. It's insane. Week 1, 11 targets on a 24% target share for Keon Coleman. 3 targets and 12% target share. So that's what he was like getting before the fourth quarter. He's had 1 good quarter. Bills ran 19 plays with only 1 wide receiver on the field. I do not like that because it's not always what's his name, Keon Coleman in that set. So that's just kind of limiting opportunities for wide receivers in general on this team. And then he does have 2 great matchups and then New England, but 3 home games in a row, Jason, which is great. But again, I would try to capitalize on what Keon Coleman still people feel about him after week 1 and try to get rid of him. So I think after this stretch, he's going to have maybe 1 more good game and 2 more stinkers. I would try to get rid of Keon Coleman.
Yeah. What I see, the pattern is when they need to actually throw the ball 46 times because they're trailing, he's probably going to get involved. But when they're going to be winning most of the games, I mean, look what they did against the Jets. I think Allen only had like 10 total points because they didn't really need him. And they dominated him. And I'm pretty sure they're going to be dominating most of the teams this year, too. So they're not going to need to throw the ball as much, and Keon Coleman cannot take advantage of that. Let's get some trades here. They got Keon Coleman for Matthew Golden. I think you went on mute, my friend.
I forgot. Some guy's riding his dirt bike out here, and I was like, all you can hear is that. I was thinking like Keon Coleman for Matthew Golden. I like the way that sounds. I would go with Matthew Golden, Jason, but again, I think that you can get more for Keon Coleman. I would try to get Matthew Golden plus for Keon Coleman.
What about Keon Coleman for Zach Ertz?
I think Zach Ertz is going to have. I think this is going to be the most he's targeted over the first 2 weeks. I mean, all the entire year. So I think his target share is going to be going down steadily after this. But if you're desperate for a tight end, I would do it. I think it's a fair trade. I think they're,
all right,
they're,
last
they're
one. What if
valuable.
you did Keon Coleman for Terry McLaurin?
Oh my God. Yeah. If you can get Terry McLaurin, man, do that. I guess did I delete Terry McLaurin? Let's see. I guess I did. Yeah. I had him on, I had Terry McLaurin on here, and then I deleted him because of the injury. I just didn't know what to do with him. So
he's in limbo.
The injury to Jaden Daniels. Like, I don't know what's going to happen if Jaden Daniels can't go. So I wouldn't want to do any trades. All right, Jason, I think this is the last one. Yep, it's the last one. You ready?
Yep.
I drafted this guy last year, right? I think he was a top 3 running back. The year before that, Travis Etienne, 16 fantasy points. He rushed for like 150 yards week 1. He saw his running back rush share go from 64% in week 1 to 58% in week 2, while his target share went from 10% week 1 to 7% week 2. His route rate, however, went from 46% to 60 week 2. So he's still running more routes, but they did get rid of Tank Bigsby. So there was, more of the pie out there for these two. Outsnapped Tootin 47-18. So I do want to say, like, even though the touches were closer, the snap percentage was insane. Like, Etienne is still dominating on snap percentage, but Bayshell Tootin right now, number 2 in fantasy points per touch at 1.27, behind number 1 Etienne and number 3 James Cook. So right now, Bayshell Tootin has been amazing. He is like, a Devon Etienne type of rookie right now. Houston at San Francisco and then Kansas City. So 3 tough matchups right after they had Carolina and Cincinnati in the first 2 weeks. Travis Etienne has had. So Travis Etienne has had two cake matchups. So this is probably going to be, he's going to be losing shares to Bayshell Tootin. He had the 2 best matchups out of his first 5 games. He's got 3 tough matchups coming up. With the linebackers in the Houston, Robert Saleh in San Francisco, and then the Kansas City stops the run all the time. So I would be trying to get rid of Travis Etienne before Bayshell Tootin really starts eating into this. And while his value is still super high, man. So like, I think that you could package Etienne with somebody and get a Breece Hall. I mean, I would probably trade Travis Etienne for Breece Hall or something like that. So yeah, Jason, I'm trading away Etienne.
Yeah, he was missed tackles forced per touch, 0.40. That was 4th best this week.
That's amazing.
Explosives per touch, 10%. That was 6th this week. I think he's the end might be near for Etienne.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this is the best he's going to do, but I still think he's looking great. So like, I would want to get somebody really good for him. Like, it's not like somebody I'm just trying to get rid of, but I think that his value is higher than what it is in reality. So his perceived value is higher than what it really is, especially after the next 3 weeks. It's going to go down, I would assume. So yeah, I would try to get Etienne unloaded before that hits.
Well, I think the best thing on this Jaguars offense are the running backs. I think they look the best. It's
exactly.
Crazy.
And Bayshell Tootin does look really good. So, all right, Jason, let's see some trades.
All right. Travis Etienne for Deebo Samuel.
Man, Deebo Samuel. I'm assuming all the Deebo Samuel's targets are going to eventually go to Terry McLaurin, right? I would assume. But as right now, Jason, I would keep Etienne. I'm not messing around with fucking Deebo Samuel, unless it's like a package deal to get me somebody else. Not straight up.
Travis Etienne, Justin Herbert.
I would do the Justin Herbert if I needed a quarterback. Like if I didn't have a top tier quarterback, or maybe you're a Justin Burrow owner or something like that, I would trade away my Etienne for a Herbert, like a top 5, top 7 or 8 quarterback ranking like every week.
Last one, T. Higgins, Travis Etienne for Justin Jefferson.
Well, Jason, I am a Vikings fan, and I would not want to own Justin Jefferson right now. So as long as JJ McCarthy is a quarterback, I know he's out for 3 weeks or something like that. And now you got Carson Wentz. I would not do it. I would need to know. Now, if we traded away, now just imagine if you did that trade and then Kirk Cousins came back, it would be amazing. So you're playing with fire, but let's just assume JJ McCarthy's going to come back and be the starter. I would not want anything in Justin Jefferson.
Okay. Texas lost by 1 point.
Oh my God. I gotta check. Hopefully Baker Mayfield had a big game so I could trade him away and keep Daniel Jones. All right, man. I'm stopping sharing. We are back. Hey, if you've got some trades that you want to see, think about our opinion and stuff like that, please comment down below. Let us know what you think about this episode and Jason's trade calculator. All right. Don't let him forget about it next time. And hey, hopefully we earned a thumbs up. Hopefully we earned a subscription, man. That's what we need. We're on our knees on the street lights, on the corners under the street lights, begging for those subscriptions, dog. Jason, please send us out.
Yeah, we got some videos coming out this week. We got the running back, wide receiver, quarterback matchup for week 3. Very important. Make sure you watch it if you want to win your week. We also got questions that a lot of people don't know the answer. Vegas does. Make sure to watch that. We're also live Friday with our rankings. Come join us, talk shop. Have a brewski. I'll talk to you in those episodes. Deuces.
This is Fantasy Red Zone. We appreciate you.